Good morning, class. This is Mrs. Rosalinda B. McDowell. Once again, your fundamentals of accountancy, business and management 1 subject teacher. So for today, our lesson is all about the books of accounts. So for our learning objectives, at the end of the video lesson, you are expected to, number 1, identify the uses of the books of account. 2. Illustrate the format of a general and special journal. 3. Illustrate the format of a general and subsidiary ledger. Okay, so for our review, the last lesson that we had is all about the theory of debit and credit, or the rule of debit and credit. Okay, so I would want you to always remember the very basic foundation in accounting, which is the accounting equation, which is assets is equals to liability plus owner's equity or capital. So, okay, you need to always remember the rules of debit and credit because this is the very basic foundation in understanding accounting as we go along. Okay, so it means to say that the normal balance side of assets account is on the debit side. So it means to say when you're going to entry on the debit side, it would increase the assets. But if you're going to entry on the credit side, it's going to decrease the asset amount. So while liabilities, its normal balance side is on the credit side. So it means to say if you're going to make an entry on the credit side, it is going to increase the credit amount of the liabilities. While if you are going to make an entry on the debit side, it is going to decrease the liabilities amount. While the owner's equity or the capital, its normal balance side is on the credit side. So it means to say if you're going to make an entry on the credit side, it is going to increase the owner's equity and or capital's amount. While if you're going to make an entry on the debit side, it is going to decrease the amount of the owner's equity or the capital. Okay, so before we will proceed, who can remember what is the meaning of the book of accounts? Okay, so the book of accounts means the records or books in which all financial information are recorded and maintained. Okay, once again, the book of accounts is where all the records or books in which all financial information are recorded and maintained. So muna siya diyan na naka-record sa book of accounts, diyan no naka-record ang tanang transactions sa business. Okay, let's proceed to our new lesson. What are the books of accounts? There are 2 sets of books that are used by the business. So they are the book of original entry and the book of final entry. The book of original entry is called journal, which is of 2 kinds, no? So dunay duha ka klase ang journal, the general journal and the special journal. So you need actually to remember the name of these books, okay? So this is called the book of original entry because it is in this book where transactions are recorded for the first time, no? So kung ang journal gitawag siya nga book of original entry tungod kay upon the occurrence of the transaction, no, dito siya first gi-entry, no, sa journal. Then the book of final entry is called the ledger, which is also of 2 kinds, the general ledger and the subsidiary ledger. This is called the book of final entry because it is in this book where transactions that were recorded in the journal are transferred in the ledger for final recording, no? So ato ana siyang, you can actually understand it as we go along, okay? So gitawag siya no nga book of final entry kay gikan dito sa journal, no, kana siya nga account, no, i-transfer dito sa general ledger. So masabdan na ninyo as we go along. Okay, books of original entry, journal. A general journal can be of a loose leaf or book-bound form. It has the following columnar headings, no? So sa practice actually, no, so pwede nga makapalit ka tong loose leaf katong mga sheets bitaw nga mga journal, mapalit nimo sa office and school supplies, then napoy katong book bound, tong libro bitaw siya, no? So one of these days I will require you to use that one para maila-ila ninyo, no? So dito sa journal, no, makita ninyo dito ang ang date column, okay? So it shows the date when the transactions took place. The dates that appear in the journal must be in a chronological order, which means that the entries are recorded in order of the date of the occurrence, no? So what pasabot diya dapita sa date column, no? Dapat ang inyong isulat diya is ang year, month ug ang day. So, it means to say in a chronological order, dapat isunod nimo, no? Kung unsang pitsa hato siya ni nahitabo nga transaction, no? So, mo pud na imuhang pag-record, mo pud ihang date. Dili ka pwede nga maglaktaw-laktaw or ibali-bali na nimo kay dili na siya in chronological order, okay? So, next is ang particulars. Shows the item or the accounts debited and credited as a result of the transaction analysis, as well as a brief or concise explanation of what the transaction is all about. No, so diha sa particulars, no, makita lang nimo bisag pagsulat gamay lang kay sa nga tanan nga description regarding ana nga transaction. Next is the folio, the number of an account in a ledger or page of a ledger to which it was transferred. Folio is the Latin word for page. It is also called a reference. It means to say, no, sa folio, diyan imo na makita, di ba, no, ganina kung gi-explain gikan sa journal, which is the book of original entry, di ba, no, ibalhin na dito ang iyang record, no, for final entry, okay? So gikan sa journal, no, so dito sa general ledger, diyan imo ibutang sa folio, no, kung unsa nga page dito sa general ledger, makita ni siya nga transaction pag final record of entry na. Masabtan na ninyo as we go along. Then sa debit column, this is a money column showing the peso amount of the value received in a transaction. No? Remember, no, katong sa akong giingon nga kung naay transaction, di ba, no, naay value received, unsa imong nadawat. Then sa debit column, no, this is the money column showing the amount of the value parted with in a transaction, no? So kung unsa po imong gihatag, okay? So na kay nadawat kay napo kay gihatag, naay ni sulod kay naay ning gawas, di ba, no? Kung mopalit ka na kay madawat nga item pero nihatag ka og kwarta, or kung halimbawa mangutang ka na kay item nga nadawat pero nagdala ka og utang, na kay nahimong utang, di ba, no? So ana na siya ang yahang concept. So diri sa money column, no, sa debit and credit, so diri ka magsulat og amount. Okay? So dili na gikinahanglan nga mogamit pa ka og comma or period. Kay nga naman, no? So since nga money column siya, it is already understood and you do not need to use the peso sign. Okay? The entry that is made in the journal is called journal entry. A journal entry may be simple or compound. A simple journal entry is one that has one debit item with a debit amount and one credit item with a credit amount. Shown below is affirmation of a simple journal entry, no? So ito makita diri sa atong journal, di ba, no? Na a year, na month and day. Then na po particulars, no? So na ay debit item. Then, ang debit item actually, no, diri po nimo isulat ang ihang amount sa transaction sa debit nga column. Okay, din ang dapat na ay indention, no, ang sa credit po nga item, no. So muna siyang example sa simple nga journal entry. Naalay isa ka item sa debit ug napo isa ka item sa credit, no. So ito siya, simple journal entry. Then ang iha po, ang credit item, dapat ang ihang amount po isulat nimo dito sa credit column, credit money column. Okay. So ato makita, no, dapat palang pag-entry ninyo, di ba, no? Balance siya, dili ka pwede nga masipyat sa amount, okay? Then, di ba, makita ninyo, no, ang debit item na ay indention siya sa credit item para ma-identify siya. Nga mo na siya ang debit, mo na siya ang credit. Then, ang iyang explanation po, no, para masabtan, unsa din siya nga transaction. So, dapat naapod siya indention. Okay? Okay, next, the compound journal entry is one that may have one debit item and two or more credit items, two or more debit items and one more credit item, or may have two or more items on both sides, no? So sa usa ka compound nga, sa compound pud nga tawag ani journal entry, no? So it's either na ay isa ka debit item, then duha ka credit item, or na ay duha ka debit item, and then napoy duha ka credit item, no? So it depends upon no sa klase sa accounts or transactions nga nahitabo or nag-occur, no? So the only thing lang nga kanunay ninyo hinumduman, no, dapat balance kanunay ang inyong debit ug ang credit side. Okay? So makita ninyo no nga naagya po yung year, month, and day. Then particulars na ay debit item. So siguro sa imong transaction na ay duha ka dapat nimo nga i-debit item, then apoy duha ka dapat i-credit item. So sa ako nang giingon no, it depends upon the kind of transaction no nga imuhang i-record. It's either kung compounded siya, it's either ang usahay po no na lima ka accounts no nga imong i-debit, then there is imuhang credit is isa lang no, but the only thing there dapat balance siya no. So dili gid siya ingon nga duha ka debit item, duha pud ka credit item. So it depends upon the kind of transactions nga imuhang i-record. So kani atong gigamit din hino, example lang ni siya. So sa atong example na gigamit no, natay duha ka gi-debit item. No, ang debit item dapat dito po na nimo ibutang sa debit column. Then na siya indention, no? So naapoy credit items niya duha, then dito po na nimo siya ibutang sa debit credit nga money column. So same gyapon no na indention ang iyahang explanation. So compound gan nga journal entry, but pasabot no complicated siya in a sense nga dili lang siya isa-isa, kundi magamit ka og more than 2 nga account title sa pag-record sa transaction. Okay, next, special journals. There are 4 kinds of special journals. These are as follows. Number 1, sales journal, to record sales of merchandise on account. No? So, ang business, they are using actually the sales journal, no, nga books, aron i-record ang ilahang mga halin, no, sa ilang business on account or on credit. Subot pasabot no katong nahalinan sila pero giutang sa ilahang clients, no, sa ilahang customer. So suktonon pa to siya nila, di ba? So dito nila ibutang sa sales journal. Remember ha, ang sales journal dito nimo makita ang sales on account or on credit. Sa Bisaya pa listahan sa mga utang, no? Then number 2, purchase journal, to record purchase of merchandise on account. Okay. So ang purchase journal book pud no, ginagamit ni siya kay aron didto pug ka mag-record sa imuhang mga pinalit, purchase ganino magpalit on account or on credit. Kung mangutang pud ka ikaw mismo, halimbawa mangutang kang gaisano og tawag ani merchandise no, kanang mga nuglakay tindahan halimbawa nga grocery, mangutang ka sa gaisano no. So pag pangutang nimo, imong ibutang dito imong purchases no dito sa imuhang purchase journal book. Number 3, cash receipts journal, to record cash collection of whatever nature, no? So ang imuhang cash receipts journal or cash receipts book, no, dito nimo i-record ang tanang cash nga imuhang nadawat, no, nadawat sa business, either collection or halid nga cash. Okay? Then number 4 is cash disbursement. Cash disbursement gani is paggasto, okay, pagpagawa sa kwarta, no? So to record cash payments of whatever nature. Sabot pasabot no ang cash disbursements journal or books, dito nimo makita tanan no ang tanang kwarta nga nang gawas, cash nga ni gawas. While sa cash receipts, di na receipt ha, receipts journal, no, dito nimo makita ang tanang cash collection or tanang kwarta nga nisulod sa company or sa negosyo. Okay, nasabtan? Okay, so I have actually an example here, no, for the loose leaf nga journal o journal nga book bound. Okay, so one of these days I am going to require you nga gamiton ni siya para sa ako ang assignment niya ihatag para ma-familiarize mo ani so that you would know on how to use this too. Okay. Next, a book of final entry ledger, general ledger. A general ledger can also be of loose leaf or book bound. But as for me, I would prefer to use the book bound because kung loose leaf manggod siya, naida kong tsansa nga paliro no sa hangin or sa electric fan sa office. While ang book bound, your records there are intact. These group items or accounts of the same kind. This book will group items or accounts of the same kind, class, or nature, no? So, ang ledger, iyang igrupo, no, ang mga accounts nga, same ang ihang kind, class, o nature. No? So, inyong hinumduman, the very time nga ma-employ mo sa usa ka company or kung mag-record mo transaction, dapat, no, inyong i-check ang ilang chart of accounts, no? Unsay mga title accounts nga ilang ginagamit no sa nature sa ilang transactions, okay? Sa nature sa business, di ka pwede nga magbut-but og imong account title. So you need actually to check sa ilang chart of accounts nga gigamit sa company. Each item or account is being provided with a leaf or a ledger, no? So each account, no, naa na siya provided nga page, no, nga dito gina siya each kind, class, and nature, no? So ibali tawag ani gi-simplify na siya dito na okay kini siya nga account mo ni siya tanan diri, no, giisa siya bali in short, no? Subot pasabot matag account titles na ay iya nga page dito nga dito nimo siya lagi na sulat. For this reason, a ledger is also called a group of accounts. Okay, let's proceed to our sample pro forma of a general ledger. So at first, now we have here the individual assets. So under the assets, we have the cash or the cash in bank, accounts receivable, estimated uncollectible accounts. We have the prepaid insurance. We have the shop supplies inventory. Then we have the shop equipment. Then for liabilities, we have the accounts payable trade. We have the unearned service income. We have the utilities payable. We have the salaries payable. We have the rent payable. No, mo ni mga payables, liabilities, utang. Then individuals owner's equity account or capital. So we have the owner's capital. We have the owner's drawing. We have the income and expense summary. We have the service income. We have the insurance expense, rent expense, and salaries expense. No, so dito sa general ledger, no, na ay matag usa-usa, no, ka page nga gigahin sa matag account titles nga makita diya sa assets. Una, no, ang hanay pag-record, no, is ang assets, then next is ang liabilities, then next actually is ang owner's equity capital or ang revenue and expenses. Okay, a general ledger has two sides, the left-hand side, which is called a debit side, and the right-hand side, which is called a credit side. Each side has the column for the following. So there's a date column that shows the date of the transactions that occurred as recorded in the journal. No, so ang sa pag-record dog gikan sa iyang source gikan sa iyang original book of original entry, which is the journals, no, kung unsay entry dito niya ang date niya dapat mo pud ang iyang date pud, no, diri sa general ledger mo po imong gamiton nga date. Then next is the particulars, shows a brief but a concise explanation of the transaction as shown in the journal. No, so kung unsa to siya nature ato niya nga transaction mo po iyang description or explanation, brief description or item nga ibutang. Din sa folio shows the page number of a journal where entries are taken from. So kaganina, no, dito sa kanang general ledger, general journal, di ba, no, ako giingon dito ganina nga makita po siya dito, no, na i-number dito niya as reference number or page. Kung asa nga number siya sa general ledger makita or malocate. So susama po, no, sa general ledger, pag-record nimo, pag-transfer, no, nimo, gikan sa journal sa iyang amount no sa accounts title no nga imo na siyang gina specify no imo na siyang gina grupo according sa ilahang kind, class and nature no. So makita po dito no kung kano sa nahitabo ang transaction. Then money columns. The debit money column shows the amount that are transferred from the debit money column of the journal, while the credit money column shows the amounts that are transferred from the credit money column of the journal. So it means to say no gikan sa general journal nga mao ang book of original entry, pag transfer nimo dito sa general ledger, dapat kung ang entry na sa debit side, dapat i-entry po nimo dito sa debit side. Kung ang entry sa account is na credit side, so dapat i-entry po nimo dito sa iyahang credit side. Next, okay, shown below is a pro forma of a general ledger. So A, to be used under manual accounting system, no? So din sa under manual accounting system, so mo ni siya ang iyahang na account number. Then sa ako lang gingon account number, makita na mo dito sa chart of accounts, di ba? Then nasa year, particulars, na folio, na debit. Kung debit ang entry no sa manual accounting system no, kung debit ang entry gikan sa general journal no, so diri nimo siya i-entry. Then kung napo siya credit, diri pud nimo siya i-entry sa credit side. Then letter B, to be used under computer-based accounting system. No, so kung accounting system pud ang gamiton ganina no sa A is manual no, na ay debit na ay credit no. Pero diri sa computer-based accounting system, so naala year and date month, then particulars na folio na debit and credit and running balance, no? So kasagaran mo ni siya ang ginagamit kaya naman mas paspas man gud nimo mahibaluan ang iyahang amount labi na no karon sa accounting. Actually there's a lot of software. Okay, next, T account is used in lieu of a general ledger, no? So, actually, ang concept sa general ledger, pwede din mo gamitin actually ang T account. Same lang siya ang concept actually. It is an accounting device that most of the bookkeepers and accountants use in summarizing the effects of changes in assets, liabilities, and owner's equity in a fast and expedient manner. The T account is usually a general ledger. When you remove the lines of the general ledger, it resembles the capital letter T. And it is from here that it gets its name. The T account, like a general ledger, has two sides. The left-hand side, which is called the debit side, and the right-hand side, which is called the credit side. Shown below is the formation of a T account. So, account title. So, on the left-hand side, we have the debit side. Then, there's the date and the amount. Then, on the credit side, we have on the right-hand side, we have the credit side, the date and amount. Supposed to be the same concept, actually, in using the general ledger. Since what we compare are figures, most bookkeepers and accountants prefer to have a formation of a T account like this. Amounts are placed closer to each other to see if they are in balance or not. No? So, it's actually quite so easy, no? Sa halimbawa, nakagusto mabaluan kung pila balance ani nung account title. You can just actually easily use the T account para mabalaan pilang iyahang balance. Next, subsidiary ledger. When subsidiary ledgers are used, the general ledger will become a controlling account. For example, a general ledger of accounts receivable which shows an amount of 350,000. Are you not interested of knowing who are the persons or companies that are indebted from your business? Of course, you are interested. Well, the subsidiary ledgers will tell you from whom you have collectibles. The subsidiary ledgers will provide you with a list of schedule of accounts receivable. The same is true with accounts payable. If you have an accounts receivable of 350,000 pesos, your subsidiary ledger will tell you who these debtors are. The formation of subsidiary ledgers is shown below. So as you can see, we have actually here on the picture, we have the name of the company, the address, the year, month and date, the description, the folio, the debit and credit sides, and then the balance.
Under description, you may indicate the charge invoice number that you issued or delivery invoice number as your reference in sending a statement of account. A statement of account is a billing statement showing the amount of your total billings. Okay, class, so that is all for today. I prepared a 15 items quiz for you. Then I am already so excited for us to have the face-to-face classes so that we could have a real interaction so that you can actually ask questions whenever you are having difficulties. Then be blessed and take care always. I will see you again on our next video lesson.